The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Cuba-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Cuba Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Cuba-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Cuba Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Cuba-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamala Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor would have completed the construction.
Not only is it a dream come true, but for the Honorable Prime Minister, another sacred promise fulfilled.
Nothing can take away from what this building represents, what this children's hospital represents.
This imposing Couva-based children's hospital is a first for this Twin Island Republic, a legacy deliverable since people first voted in 1925. The vision of Kamla Prasad Bisesa, who successfully knotted conviction and political will to realize this state-of-the-art facility that will be a model for regional medical tourism.
This hospital will also be one to attract medical tourism. Yes, it will service our citizens here, but it will also be a light shining throughout the CARICOM.
The delivery of patient care at this hospital also represents comfort and relief to parents with sick kids. Its opening, indeed a moment in history for the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, and more importantly, the truism of "my word is my bond" philosophy of the Honorable Prime Minister.
The Couva Hospital is a construction site. The last information I have is that by the end of March, the contractor
.org. The United National Congress Monday Night Forum has rolled into the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande. This afternoon we have the Monday Night Forum, and the featured speaker will be the Honorable Political Leader, Ms. Kamla Prasad Bisesa. For those of you who are viewing us on Facebook, note that Facebook, and we are also today, we are doing 3 broadcasts on 3 frequencies. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube, and the UNCTT.org site. If for some reason, and in these days of political sabotage, we could get cut from Facebook or YouTube. However, our broadcast goes uninterrupted on UNCTT.org. So for those of you, you can view us on UNCTT.org, but we are also live on Facebook and YouTube. Yes, this afternoon would be a very exciting and power-packed presentation of the United National Congress edition. You know, usually when we go to the various constituencies, like today we are in Toco Sangre Grande, the leader, unlike the PNM, that for the entire, I had the ordeal. You know, in broadcasting, you must watch the enemy. I had the ordeal of watching the last PNM meeting from Chagonas, and all they could have done was blame Kamla, blame the UNC. Every single problem is blame the UNC, and not once in that meeting had the PNM put forward, unlike our meetings. And I look forward to coming to these meetings because our political leader always talks about what she will do to improve the country. And what I like is when she goes into a constituency, she will talk about specific improvements for the constituency. So like when we went Mayaro, she would talk about the blue economy and what she's going to do with the highway to Mayaro and the river swamp. Of course, you're going to hear what her plans would be for the Toco Sangre Grande. This afternoon, we have a slightly different format. In that the speakers I want to introduce the speakers, and I have someone assisting me with that this evening here. We have a young attorney, Miss. Yes.
Good
So
afternoon.
welcome, viewers, Miss
Sharice Kisoon,
Sharice Kisoon, a young attorney, a UNC activist,
attorney student.
attorney student. Yes, I made that mistake last time.
Yeah.
Right. So you're going to be doing some interviews with some of the speakers.
Yes,
Right.
I am.
All right. So you have your speakers organized. Your.
Yes, I do. I have my speakers organized. They're
All right, so
standing
you're-
right alongside me.
Okay. Well, you take it away from here and go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Archie. Again, to just introduce myself, I am Sharice Kisoon. I am from the constituency of La Hoqueta Talparo. Welcome to the Monday Night Forum. Welcome to the live stream. We are here in Northeastern College, Sangre Grande, for the UNC Monday Night Forum. Our first interviewee is going to be Mr. Joseph Tony, who is the coordinator for the Toco Sangre Grande constituency. Good night, Mr. Tony.
Good evening, good evening.
How are you feeling about this program tonight?
Well, it's shaping up to be quite exciting. The constituents are streaming in slowly but surely, steadily, and we hope to have a packed audience here tonight to listen to what we have to say, and of course to meet and greet with our dear political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar.
Okay, great. So, sounds like you have a very packed program here for us tonight. But tell us a little bit about what is going on in the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande.
Well, to prepare for this event, we had several walkabouts in all the various villages in and around Sangre Grande. We met and greet with, I would say, thousands of constituents. We invited them, and I see that they are responding to our requests. I see them coming in all the time, busloads of them, and I do hope that when they come here tonight, we can explain to them what the UNC is about, what the UNC is planning to do for Trinidad and Tobago when we return to government, and hopefully what we can expect of them in the coming months in the local government election campaign and in the general election campaign.
Okay, great. Based on your walkabouts and your meet and greet with the constituents of the Toco Sangre Grande constituency, what are some of the issues that the Toco Sangre Grande area is facing?
Well, there is tremendous poverty. I think squatters in general want to know that a caring government under the UNC will take care of them and not break down their houses. There is a sense that there's a lot of unemployment amongst the young people, and we are hoping that with a UNC government, we can attack these matters forcefully, humanely, and with a caring hand, so that we can not really get rid of poverty, but alleviate it. We can help young people to get sustainable jobs somewhere in the constituency, and that, of course, we can treat with those who are homeless, who cannot afford to buy a parcel of land, in a humane fashion. You know, when we walk around, the constituents always tell us that they love Kamala because Kamala has a heart, you know, and she has demonstrated over the years that she has a heart, that she cares for children, that she cares for young people, and she really wants to see rural communities develop and become better.
Right. So Mr. Tony has basically said that under the People's Partnership, under the United National Congress, we will see creation of jobs, we will see creation of housing for the young people. Tell us what else you think the United National Congress might be able to do for the people in the Toco Sangre Grande region, for the young people in particular.
Well, the young people, they need hope. They need a clear vision as to where this country is going, and they need to have themselves focused. in the past, they have been left on their own, and that is not good. We need, as a government, to have them focused on matters and on jobs, on issues that will take not only the country and the district forward, but will take they themselves forward in their personal lives.
Right, because the young people, they are the future generation. They are the future of tomorrow. Yes. Mr. Tony, it was such a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much. We look forward to hearing you speak tonight.
Pleasure also.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that was Mr. Joseph Tony, the coordinator for Toco Sangre Grande. And joining me, I have 3 young, vibrant, dynamic, ambitious women that are all facing the issues that we are prayed with as a country in Trinidad and Tobago. So here we have Nyamka Batiste.
Hi, good night.
Good night, Nyamka. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? What do you do?
Okay, so my name is Nyamka Batiste. I'm a 25-year-old mechanical engineering graduate, and I come from the village of Brazil, in the constituency of Lakota Talparo.
Okay, Ms. Batiste, can you tell us what message would you like the audience to take away from your speech tonight? I understand that you would be speaking on the platform.
Yes, I will be addressing the situation of unemployment and the lack of job opportunities for the young persons out there, because I myself is unemployed, right? So that is what my presentation will focus on, and calling the youths to get involved, to go and register, to be more involved in changing the dynamics of the country for themselves.
Right, because only when the youth can come together and make that change, then we can see a real change in the country.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so tell us what changes you would like to see throughout the country, Nyamka.
First, I'd like to see the increase in economic activity. Right now, we are very stagnant in terms of that. And, the people are the country's greatest resource, right? And the government are not utilizing that, and we feel neglected. Right, so I would like to see, more economic change and an increase in jobs available for, individuals and stuff like that.
Right, so Nyamka would like to see some increase in economic activity as well as creation of jobs. I am sure under the United National Congress, our political leader has a plan for the creation of new jobs and for an increased economic activity. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Nyamka. We have the young, dynamic Nyamka Batiste. Here we have Miss Janessa Campbell. Good night, Miss Janessa.
Hello, good night.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your age, where you're from?
Well, I'm 20 years old, and I come from the constituency of Mayaro.
Okay. Can you tell us what do you do,
Well, I'm a student, but I haven't exactly started tertiary level education as yet. And, well, you'll hear the entire story later on tonight on stage.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. So from your speech tonight, because as you mentioned, you will be speaking on the platform tonight, what would you like the audience to take away?
Well, my ultimate goal would be to let those who are listening know that the current administration has not been operating efficiently and not in the best interest of the general public. So tonight is kind of I wish to convey that to them.
Okay, so Ms. Campbell would like the audience to know that this current administration has not been performing effectively and efficiently, and she would like to highlight those issues tonight. Is there anything else you would like to address or let the public know tonight?
Not exactly. Not at this time.
Okay,
no.
thank you
Okay,
so much. We
you.
look forward to seeing your speech,
No problem.
Ms. Campbell.
Thank you.
And our third interviewee is Ms. Roshana Lachman. She's a young mechanical engineer. Roshana, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good night, everyone. My name is Roshana Lachman. I am a recent UTT graduate. I graduated with a bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I'm very adventurous.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
Okay, you're 22 years old. And are you working as a mechanical engineer now?
Not at the moment. I would hope to.
Okay, so we have graduates. They are young. They have graduated as mechanical engineers, lawyers, you name it. And it is difficult for them to find jobs. It's difficult for them to find jobs in the field in which they have studied for. So Rashana, can you tell us what you would like the audience to take away from your message tonight?
Sure, no problem. So the People's Partnership has invested heavily on human capital between 2010 and 2015. And unfortunately, this may be lost due to a lack of job opportunities. So in order for this not to happen, well, currently there is a possibility that we will not be able to cut this until we vote for the People's Partnership. So this can be a huge result of brain drain, which is where professionals are being forced to seek employment abroad. And my speech also entails a little bit of the problems faced by everyone at every educational level. So basically at school.
So Rashana is saying to us that yes, there are people that are getting their education, but if there are no jobs, what are they going to do? They are going to have to find alternative options, and they're going to probably have to look at options internationally and regionally. And this is going to result in brain drain within our country. And that is going to be a real issue because our human capital would just be leaving our country, and then we're going to end up with less human resources here locally. So can you suggest to the people, how can, in your opinion, how can economic activity be increased?
Well, as the People's Partnership had done before, investing in humans and making full use of our human resource is one of the most important ways in achieving this goal. If you don't develop the humans, then how is the economy going to develop? Because we are the people, we are the future. So we need to be the ones to create this development, and there needs to be avenues for us.
Okay, thank you so much. We have the young mechanical engineer, Ms. Rashana Lachman, and she reiterated on the point of developing our human capital. But developing our human capital is just one aspect. But when we develop our human capital, we also need to create economic activity so that we can generate new jobs. We need to diversify the economy. We need to move away from the non-energy sector and or invest in sectors such as agriculture, maritime, the arts, sports, and you name it. We are coming to you live from Northeastern College. We are here for the United National Congress Monday Night Forum. Shortly, we would have gracing us tonight on the stage the political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Prasad Kamala Prasad Bisasa. We would have the coordinator for the Toco Sangre Grande, coordinator for the Toco Sangre Grande constituency, Mr. Joseph Tony. We're going to have the councillor for the electoral district of Vega de Oropuch, Councillor Anil Jutiram, and we're going to have a wide array of young, dynamic, ambitious professionals that are being faced with numerous amounts of issues in the country. They are going to be talking about those issues, and our leader is going to come on and speak to us about how she has a plan to address those said issues. Okay, so joining us here now, we have Mr. William Archie.
Yes, thank you very much, Ms. Cherise Kisoon. Folks out there, I'm sure you found her to be very good. This is her first time. She hadn't even gotten prepped. She just came, put on the microphone, and did her interviews. Yes, so you got a little hint of some of the speakers. Of course, the main and major speaker is the political. Tonight promises to be hot. As you know, I have heard news today that, you are as a practicing attorney. Student. Anand winning his case. That is a big thing.
Yes. I mean, it's a success that we celebrate as a country, as a party.
Yes. So, and to me, these things is a little sub judice, so we don't want to talk too much about it. But tonight, if whatever could be spoken about it, tune in, come in live to the UNC live stream, and take in all the action, right? The few speakers that you had introduced, that's just a little tease. We have Anil Jutaram and
We have
the
Councillor
councillor.
Anil Jutaram. He's the councillor for Vega de Oropuch. We have the coordinator for the Toco Sangre Grande that had joined us here, Mr. Joseph Tony. We have
Ladies and
Mr.
gentlemen,
David
please
John.
be seated.
Would Ryan be speaking
Monday
tonight?
Night Forum
Ryan wouldn't be speaking.
is
tonight.
about
Oh,
to
okay.
begin.
Yes. So we're about to go stateside very soon. Now, when I was introducing the live stream, I was talking about the projects that the political leader outlined for the specific constituency. Now, coming from South, when I am coming up here to Sangre Grande, long time I had to leave 3 and 4 and 5 hours in order to reach here on time. I came up here via something called the Valencia bypass, right? That cuts out about a couple hours of traffic. You from this area?
No, I am from Caparo. That is from the constituency of La Hoqueta Talparo.
Yes. Now, the PNM talks about projects. They talk about it. The UNC delivers. I just want to, Director, do you have the Valencia video? Yeah. Could you just bring it up so our viewers could see tangible?
Motorists attempting to access Sangre Grande, Arima, Valencia, the Eastern Main Road and Antigua Road from the Churchill Roosevelt Highway are asked to do as follows. Proceed north onto Antigua Road from the Churchill Roosevelt Highway. Upon reaching the Barbuda extension, motorists are asked to turn right. When on Barbuda Road, motorists are asked to proceed in an easterly direction until they encounter the first roundabout. While approaching the roundabout, motorists are asked to proceed with caution and give way to traffic on the right. Having entered the roundabout, they are to take the second exit and continue east onto the Valencia bypass. Along this road, motorists will cross the first bridge, B1 and enter into the KP Lands village. While proceeding east through the KP Lands village, motorists would encounter a second bridge, B1 and after crossing this would have entered into Kangali village. Motorists would then pass a fence to the right. This is the demarcation of the Aripo Savanna, an environmentally sensitive area. Having passed this, motorists would now approach the second roundabout, again asked to proceed with caution and give way to traffic on the right. Having entered the roundabout, motorists are to take the second exit and proceed south to Sangre Grande. The first exit would take them north to Valencia. For those attempting to access the Eastern Main Road via Antigua Road, they are to proceed north, passing the Barbuda extension. At this time, Antigua Road becomes one-way north. Motorists are to proceed with caution and approach the intersection. Upon reaching the intersection, motorists can either turn left into Arima or right and proceed toward Valencia. For motorists attempting to access Sangre Grande via the Eastern Main Road, they are to continue heading east from Arima, and to access the Valencia bypass,
Remain standing. We'll now have our prayer by Miss Friday.
Can we please all be quiet as we reverence God? Father and God, we thank you for this evening. We thank you for this day which you have made. Father, we thank you for every person here this evening. God, you know the purpose why we are gathered here this evening. God, Father, I ask you, as the deliberations go through this evening, as our political leader speak to us, not only our political leader, Father, but our upcoming Prime Minister, as she speaks to us, God, Father, and as we listen to other speakers, I ask you, oh God, Father, to infiltrate this place. Father, I thank you for all the persons that came here this evening. I thank you for those who are on their way. I thank you for all of them reaching back to their homes safely this evening, God, Father. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that things are going to go well. Father, I cannot forget the bloodshed in this country right now, oh God, Father. God, Father, step in. It is too much. The blood is crying out in the land, oh God, Father. Father, have your way and come to Trinidad and Tobago, God, Father, as we in this constituency represent Trinidad and Tobago. I ask you, oh God, Father, to have your way in this place. And I make this prayer in the Savior's name. Amen.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Friday. And we want to thank the young folks who played the national anthem for us. Everyone who is on the outside of the auditorium, please come inside. We are about to begin the Monday Night Forum. The audio, please, for our video. Thank you very much.
Well, hello to all the to all the UNC live stream, all the members of the UNC, and everybody who is looking, all the viewers, the UNC. We are up here at Northeastern College, the Monday Night Forum, UNC Monday Night Forum. Of course, we know it's going to be explosive as it has always been, you know. And we just look forward to, you know, hearing from the various speakers, and especially our honorable political leader, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. So stay tuned.
There will be no coalition. We are UNC and we are proud. There is one party, there is one leader, and there will be one government, the government of the
Live from the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande, this is a special edition of the United National Congress Monday Night Forum and the One Corridor, One Vision platform.
Bring down the power. Now is the time. Bring down the power. Now is the time. Bring down the power of the UNC.
To find a solution to this pollution. Yeah. Got to find a solution to this pollution. Oh, gotta find a solution to this pollution.
Live from the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Constituency Chairman David John.
TDM 863, please move your vehicle. TDM 863, can you move your vehicle, please? Thank you very much.
Good night, UNC Massive. Good night, Toco Sangre Grande. It's a pleasure to be here in this massive Monday Night Forum. Our political leader and next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, other parliamentarians, senators, councillors, and aldermen, the media, our hard-working police officers, and all our UNC supporters, a pleasant good night. Tonight, I can say clearly now, not that the rain has gone, but that the sun is about to rise in Toco Sangre Grande again. The election bell is about to ring. Toco Sangre Grande, are we ready? UNC Massive, are we ready? Okay. The UNC is again offering to the people of Toco Sangre Grande the much needed development of this region of our Twin Islands. The UNC was able to accomplish in Toco Sangre Grande in 5 short years what the PNM was not able to do in their 40 odd years in government. If you think what I'm saying is a joke, then tell me, 10 major developments done by the PNM in 40 years of being in government in Toco Sangre Grande. Just 10. And if you think that was bad, Rowley came to Valencia Primary Government School and tell the people on May 26, 2015, that if they put the PNM back in government, they will build a port from Toco to Scarborough. When Sadiq Bash was Minister of Works in 1999, the PNM encouraged their supporters to resist and reject the very said proposal. Now they are coming to tell the Toco people to accept the same. The PNM is like a proverbial dog, always licking up its vomit. In the PNM 1961 manifesto, they promised to link Matlock with Blanchisseuse. 59 years has gone, and the people is still the same. Typical PNM, promises never materialize. They also tell the people they will build a new road to Toco. He think he talking to the people of Diego Martin West. Anybody who is acquainted with the terrain will know that any new road that have to be built must be built north of the existing road, and that is impossible at this time, because north of the existing road are houses, deep valleys, and high mountains. What about the North Oropouche water catchment? Will he destroy that? What about the scenic Matura River with the mermaid pool? Will he also get rid of our ecotourism? The EMA will not give a CEC for such a foolish concept. So to mamagai the people for this election, they start to widen the road, a project I am sure will not be completed. So brothers and sisters, I want to end by telling you what the partnership government was able to accomplish in 5 short years in Toco Sangre Grande. When I mention every project, I want you to shout performance. I want you to shout it out so that it can reverberate in San Fernando West for Alwari to hear. I want you to shout it out so that it can echo in Diego Martin for Rowley to hear. I want you to shout it out hard so that it can shake the hills of Belmont so that Stuart Young could hear. And I want you to shout it out so it could rustle through the trees of Maraval, but I'm not too sure if the midget will hear. But you have to shout it out. So 1, a bridge in Matlock to cross to the school. 2, the refurbishment of the Matlock fishing depot. 3, the removal of the hanging wall in Matlock. 4, the paving of the road from Matlock to Grand River. 5, the construction of 7 miles of box train from Matlock to Grand River. 6, the construction of a brand new fishing depot in Grand River. 7, the refurbishment of the Kishon Walcott Lighthouse in Toco. 8, the refurbishment of the Kumana Community Center and the establishment of the only ICT center in this region. 9, the refurbishment of the Balandra Fishing Depot. 10, the lighting of the Lawrence Wood Recreation Grove in Balandra. 11, the construction of the Matura Wall. 12, the commissioning of the Matura water treatment plant. 13, the dueling of the bridge by Ice Cream Corner in Matura. 14, the establishment of Costat in Sangre Grande. 15, the construction of the Valencia bypass. 16, the construction of the two-lane bridge on the Old Toco Road, Valencia. 17, the paving of the Old Toco Road from the Valencia Junction to Kumaka Road. 18, the lighting of the Ojo Road Recreation Ground. 19, the lighting of the Damri Hill Recreation Ground. 20, the construction of the modern indoor sporting complex on the Ojo Road. 21, the establishment of the visitor center in Valencia, and on and on and on. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Rowley, you and your party are squatting in Toco Sangre Grande, but without a deed of comfort. So come elections, we will make it our duty to see that you and your party experience demolition. You have to go. Sangre Grande, Toco Sangre Grande say you have to go. Trinbago say, Rowley, you have to go. Brothers and sisters, a pleasant good night. And there is an announcement, TBN 1582, TBK 1811 needs vehicles removed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Honorable political leader of our great party, Ms. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, party chairman, deputy political leaders, other NATEX members, members sitting on the stage, on the tables, MPs, senators, mayors, chairmen, councillors, aldermen, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, members of the protective services, a pleasant good night. As a local government representative, we are being starved by central government for funding, thereby preventing us from delivering basic infrastructural improvements and maintenance in our region. Example, no money to pave roads, no money for patching of roads, no money for box drains or pavements, even no money to assist in jogging tracks in our recreation grounds. Imagine at a time like this, we have no funding in this dry season for water trucks and to pay overtime on weekends and public holidays. We get no funding for a complete month to pay our caretakers to look after our recreation grounds. It's now 5 days per fortnight. That's what the Sangre Grande Regional Corporation can afford. No money is allocated to repair our corporation vehicles, which are part of our major assets. No help in times of disaster. We have no help from ODPM or other state agencies when it's time for flooding and so on. Our developmental projects, what we call DP, for the fiscal year 2017-2018 were given to us 11 months late, with just 2 weeks before the financial year closed. Within 2 weeks, we had to tender and award jobs. In this way, the money would not have returned to the Ministry of Finance. This would not have taken place if we did not have a joint press conference with our chairman, mayors, and minority leaders one fateful Sunday morning with our deputy political leader, Ms. Khadija Amin, at the office of the Leader of Opposition in Port of Spain. Poor people, middle-class people, mothers of children with cerebral palsy and physically challenged children, single mothers, have been thrown under the bus by trying to live with the introduction of 12.5% VAT on over 7,000 basic food items that were previously zero-rated under Kamala Prasad-Bissessar. Our pockets have felt the rot of approximately 100% increase in diesel, and gas. Grants and food cards have all been taken from those deserving of it to be given back to their supporters and potential voters around election time. Total lack of care and compassion. This administration has forgotten about the Ministry of Local Government. They treat this ministry like a bastard child. Vanity projects are all they are concerned about. The highway from Valencia to Toco with a port costs $1.6 billion. The highway from Wallerfield to Manzalina, first phase, costs $400 million, and 2 other phases, when complete, would have cost over $1 billion. Instead of investing in unnecessary highway projects at these hard, challenging times, I suggest we invest the money in trying to rehabilitate existing roads and agricultural access roads, and also invest in wind turbines and solar panel glass for all new government buildings as a source of renewable energy. This government has ostracized the Ministry of Works in Sangre Grande, and for some strange reason, focus only on NITCO, Pure, and URP in Port of Spain. I wonder if the reason behind this is to micromanage the funds behind closed door to prevent transparency from the public. Imagine the Ministry of Works in Sangre Grande has over 20 vehicles parked in their compound with no money to repair them. They have no backhoe, and this region is 4 times the size of Tobago, and the Ministry of Works compound in Sangre Grande have not even 1 backhoe. They have 2 dump trucks, and this is yet to be licensed for this year. Community centers around us are being abandoned and left to rot. Our schools in our region have no money to maintain their playground, and councillors are being asked to pick up the slack. In our policies, in our police in the Eastern Division headquarters, several department phone lines are down because of lack of payment. There are no proper working fax machines, no basic stationery for the officers, no ribbon for printers. Even after 18 years, the Matters police station is housed in a container. I recommend immediately the reintroduction of the police marine branch to help secure our borders from Matla to Mayaru. We need to diversify the region to curb the high unemployment rate. I recommend sport tourism, medical tourism, sea and sand tourism, nature trails, agriculture, and increase empowerment of the Predial Lassini squad. We need to assist the homeless people and house them in a more humane place so they can adequately live their lives and improve their lives in comfort. Ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of our future generations, our country, Trinidad and Tobago, let us all come together and unite to take our country back to a place of safety, sanctity, once more under the compassionate, caring, strong, stern leadership of Ms. Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. I thank you very much.
From the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Janessa Campbell, Rishana Lachman, and Nayanka Batiste.
With the driver PCB 82, please move your vehicle. PCB 82, PCB 82. Can you remove your vehicle urgently? PCB 82.
A pleasant good night to the honorable MPs, my MP, Mr. Parry, councillors, esteemed guests, and a special good night to our honorable political leader, the great Kamla Prasad-Bissessar. I would like to initially express my sincerest gratitude to being afforded this opportunity. It has always been a long-term aspiration of mine to appear on a political forum in the presence of TNT's greatest Prime Minister. Mrs. Kamala has undoubtedly paved the road for women and men alike with political ambitions, and being a young woman myself, saw it fitting to take example. Mrs. Prasad Bisesa has opened the door and welcomed individuals of any race, religion, age, and gender. A true leader who has encouraged and emboldened the younger generation, which I myself represent. This serves as the strong, substantial, solid foundation of our UNC family. I absolutely cannot say the same about the People's National Movement. Whatever foundation they think they have is non-existent. Their feeble structure is filled with hollow, baseless promises, fraudulency, and the highest levels of political corruption. I boldly come forward and say this, as they too have wormed their way in and negatively affect my personal life. Although residing in Mayaro, I attained my secondary school level education at Naprima Girls High School, and every day for 7 years, waking up at 4:30, my sister and I made the 2-hour commute. So having to make this extra effort and experiencing the level of sacrifice my mother expended, we developed the mindset to push ourselves further. This is where I both had the desire to attend university abroad and make myself a beneficial asset to my home country. I graduated in 2017 with an additional scholarship in the subjects that was supposed to prepare me for the career path that I intended to pursue. What I was not prepared for was the failure of the current administration and their subsequent impact on my aspirations. Although meeting the necessary requirements, the wrong scholarship was allocated, which hindered my plan and led me to be dependent on personal finances. So having a single mother and an older sister with even greater ambitions, it became necessary that I take a back seat and postpone further studies. So my response was to take up the initiative and constructively occupy my time while still being here. This resulted in a 2-year wait in which I hoped things would turn around eventually. I was wrong. The environment established under this current PNM governance has been unfavorable and discouraging in all aspects. The economic atmosphere has not been conducive to flourishing businesses, including my mother's personal business, which suffered. Contracts were terminated, dissolved, rejected, and during my time home, several job applications were sent out and none were received with good standing. We've heard in numerous accounts of university graduates who are sitting home with their degrees and no jobs. I don't even need to expand on the myriad of jobs that existed prior to the coming of this government that are no more today. The magnitude of lost contracts and companies closing down, it is almost as if Dr. Rowley wants Trinidad to be the next Venezuela. And being citizens of TNT and living in this time, I don't need to tell you how hard it is to live under this stifling regime. We all know it is a struggle. Overall, the ruling of the current government has had a dampening effect on TNT. Now, we gathered here tonight, and I know you will support me when I state that had our political leader been in power, this would have never been the circumstances. The plethora of contributions she has made, if I attempt to even give an account, we will be here long after Dr. Rowley comes out of office. All the highway infrastructures, bridges, paved roads that the United National Congress is responsible for and what we have continued to do. Nobody can stand here and convince me otherwise. we're blatantly seeing the immeasurable difference between the leadership and ultimately the parties. But as a young lady growing up in this country, I know that this is not the way I see us going forward, and that is why I stand here on this stage. We are all here because we believe in her, we believe in the party, and we all know that soon enough she will be in power again and the downfall of Trinidad and Tobago will be no more. Thank you.
Honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Visesa, and all other UNC family. Good night, brothers and sisters. I am Rishana Lachman. I am a 22-year-old engineer who is not employed in my field. As youths, we need an efficient education system in order to grow and develop so that we can contribute to our country. Since the current regime has assumed power, our education system has been in steep decline. Parents, tell me, how many of you cannot pay to get your child into a preschool due to unfair competition? With the essay examination gone in April, how many of you grown adults can actually finish that mathematics paper in 75 minutes and score high marks? I am a private tutor. I know the struggle the students faced. There was a change in the syllabus without adequate time to prepare. They are only 11 and 12-year-olds. Even the CSEC grades are declining and nothing is being done to address it. Everything is declining except the unemployment rate and inflation. Minus 4,000 lunches from the school feeding program to come soon. The textbook rental program costs $225 million, and the provision of laptops costs $250 million for the 5 years between 2010 and 2015. These programs were adjusted, and the current Minister of Education says that they will save $30 million from laptops and $119 million saved from textbooks. How is this saving now being used to develop the education system? Why were our homework centers closed down? A completed activity center in the community of Todd Road has been closed to the public for the past 4 years. The children of Todd Road have been denied the use of this public building because of mere politicking. A new coat of red paint replaced the previously beautiful yellow, and the building only opened last week. Do you know why? Because elections are around the corner. Laptops with internet access are essential for secondary school students now, and not every parent can afford one. These unfortunate students will now be at a disadvantage. And in the aftermath of CXC, many students are confused as to where to go next. CAPE, certificate program, diploma, OJT, there's just no advice, no hope. So you aspire to become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, and you have to pay for it because of issues with the GATE program. What would happen to those who suffer from poverty and are unable to afford it? Aside from payment, the modifications of the GATE program limit students from accessing their desired fields. So some, like myself, have made it. We are now graduates. Even our graduates feel frustrated out there searching for months and years for a job in their field with no silver lining. I always dreamt of working for Petrotrin as an engineer. We were told to be good boys and girls and study hard, pass our exams, and once we do this, we are assured a bright future in Trinidad and Tobago. In this regard, I dedicated my entire school life to achieving this goal and looked forward to serving my country in this capacity. I did my part. However, the president government didn't do their part. They shut down Petrotrin and killed my dreams. Petrotrin belonged to the citizens, not the government. We have all applied to company after company, but no hope. Companies are not hiring, they are firing. The industrial and technical sectors are not expanding, they are contracting. As days go by, there are less engineering jobs available. Professionals are being forced to settle for menial jobs. So parents and my dearly beloved youths, take my advice. Do not give up. There will be an opportunity for everyone when the time is right. Do not get confused and fall for the election distractions by the current administration. Don't be fooled by the current overheated rhetoric blame game. We need jobs. We want a better education system. We are voting for jobs and a better TNT. I thank you.
Honorable political leader, Ms. Kamala Prasad-Bisasa, and all other UNC family. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nayamka Batiste, a 25-year-old unemployed engineer. Now, permit me to take you on a journey of a little girl about to do SCA. With the only desire to make her mother proud, she valued the need for intensive study. Learning how to sacrifice from young, she gave up her playtime for lessons, studied hard, and eventually passed for her first choice school. There, she excelled academically at every form level, and at the end, she crossed the graduation stage proudly, having attained all of her passes. Determined to make herself into somebody, she followed the plan she created and continued on to A-levels, then to University of the West Indies, graduating with her degree in mechanical engineering. She is now eager to join the world of work, but she finds the world around her in a mess. Parents and relatives are being sent home with no means to provide for their family, and the government, charged with creating opportunities for young persons like her, is cutting jobs instead of creating them. You see, from the time I was a little girl, I succeeded at primary school, secondary school, and then to university. Why? Because it was also my dream to work at Petrotrin, and today I am an engineer, but there is no Petrotrin. I kept the faith, but the government did not keep the faith with me. Today there is no Petrotrin for me to work in. Even if I was thinking of going to Atlantic LNG Train 1, I can't, because their future is uncertain. The rate at which this Minister of Finance is going, very soon he might take away BP2. Today, we have a drastic amount of young adults with tertiary exposure, both at graduate and undergraduate level, who are in need of meaningful employment and good opportunities to use their talents and abilities. But what is being done for us? Nothing. After we put in the work, the late nights, long hours, and tears, what is being done for us by this current administration? What is the government doing to increase economic activity and economic opportunities in our country? Nothing. My peers and classmates who I have graduated with are either at home or not working in their field. We have engineers and other professionals doing labor or work, working as sales clerks or at menial jobs, a waste of good talent. Then there are those on 3- and 6-month contracts. How are they to effectively start meaningful and fulfilling life or acquire lifelong assets if they are unsure of what will happen 1 year down the road? According to the Central Statistical Office, in 2014, under the People's Partnership Government, the unemployment rate was at a record low of 3.1%. The last CSO report in 2017 indicated an increase to 4.4%, and that was after 2 years of this current administration terms in office. Since then, they have sent home approximately 55,000 more people. The unemployment rate is alarmingly increasing, and nothing is being done by this current government to address the situation. They are just sending more and more people home. So, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Janessa and Roshana and I may have come on different ships, but tonight we stand in the same boat. The boat of hopelessness, the boat of neglect, the boat of no opportunities, the boat of joblessness. I want to ask every young jobless graduate to show me your voting finger. To the voters to whom the gate is closed, show me your voting finger. I say to every young person without hope, show me your voting finger. We must vote for hope. My young friends, this is not a matter for only the Honorable Kamala Prasad and her government. This is a matter for every single one of us. Let's take a stand. Go and register yourself to vote. Give yourself a chance and give yourself an opportunity. The Honorable Kamala Prasad has committed to creating 50,000 more jobs, just like she did in 2010 to 2015. But we the youths have to do our part. We have to ensure that she gets that opportunity to be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Mr. Joseph Tony.
From the constituency of Sangre Grande, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joseph Tony.
My dear colleagues at the head table, members of parliament, senators, Senator Mahabir, congratulations and welcome to Toco Sangre Grande, my brother. Mayors, councillors, aldermen, loyal and faithful activists of the United National Congress, all of the listening and viewing public, the media, ladies and gentlemen, good night. I had many matters to talk about tonight in Toco Sangre Grande, but I chose one topic because I feel it is the most important topic to my mind, and that is the topic that I've chosen: how the Rowley PNM cabinet has transformed itself into the new Central Tenders Board. I raise that topic, brothers and sisters, because the PNM has a history of preaching good governance, anti-corruption measures, morality in public affairs. But I shall try to demonstrate to you this evening, by their conduct, especially in the matters of procurement, where their conduct has fallen short by far. We start, brothers and sisters, with their manifesto, page 44. Page 44 of their manifesto, if you want to go and check it, hear what they have to say about procurement. They started off with the usual blah, 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 UNC this, Kamla that, that's the other. Then they said, the PNM will waste no time in addressing this very important issue. That is the issue of public procurement. They will consult with all the stakeholders and implement a realistic timetable for the full implementation of the Public Procurement Act. This was in September 2015. Listen what the Express had to say, the Express newspaper in an editorial had to say in January 2019. They were criticizing the government and telling Minister Imbe to get cracking on the business of public procurement regulations. Because as far as they knew, that's the Express, the regulator, Munila Lutchman, had sent these regulations to Minister Imbe since December 2018. And all Minister Imbe had to do was to take these regulations to Parliament to activate the legislation. Minister Imbe promised to do that by March of this year. Today we are in May. No movement whatsoever. But brothers and sisters, let me tell you, that wasn't something that was done unconsciously. That wasn't something that he accidentally forgot. My submission here to you tonight is that it is an orchestrated plot on the part of the Rowley cabinet to avoid accountability and public scrutiny on their procurement practices and to facilitate corrupt practices. All you ain't clapping? I want to go to the port. I spent a little time at the port. I want to go to the port. You remember the Superfast Galicia? The Superfast Galicia was working well. Nobody had a problem with it. Out of the blue, the Rowley cabinet said, we don't want the Superfast Galicia anymore. We want a new boat. So Good Friday 2017, they got rid of the Superfast Galicia. Nothing to put in place, they hired, the cabinet, a barge, the Trinity Transporter barge. And hear what they had to say about the Trinity Transporter barge. A barge, put it on the high sea, put your goods on it, sea, throwing up all the seawater on it, destroying your goods. They say it was nothing short of a fiasco. This is the stakeholders of the Inter-Island Sea Bridge. A disgrace and a backward step for the transportation of cargo between Trinidad and Tobago. The Trinity Transporter barge. And so, the Trinity Transporter barge was transported away. But they didn't stop there. They went and they got the Cabo Star and the Ocean Flower. This is the cabinet of this country. And hear what Dr. Rowley had to say in August 2017 in an interview with an investigative reporter at the Magdalena Hotel about the oceans, the Cabo Star and the Ocean Flower too. He said he was convinced that something crooked may have gone down with the procurement process for the Cabo Star and the Ocean Flower 2 vessels. This is the Prime Minister speaking. And what did he do about it? Zilch. Nothing. He said that it's a crooked deal, yet he did nothing about it. Did he call in the Minister of National Security, the Attorney General, say, fellas, this thing looking crooked, get cracking on it, find out who is behind it? No! Nothing was done. But they didn't stop there. They didn't stop there, brothers and sisters. They went to the cabinet and they said, we want to get a new boat still. And they appointed a cabinet subcommittee to go and buy the galleon's passage. No procurement, no tendering, no competitive bidding, no evaluation of bids, nothing of the sort. $140 million, your tax dollars, to buy the galleon's passage. But that is not all. When the galleon's passage was found to be unsuitable for the inter-island sea bridge, they said, you know what Mr. Imbe said? We buy that so that when we build the port in Toco, we will use the galleon's passage to travel between Toco and Scarborough. You ever hear such notices in your life? Let me tell you something about the Toco port. I'm not talking about the Toco port tonight. Another night we will talk about that. Nobody knows when construction on the Toco port will start. Nobody knows when it will finish. Nobody knows the cost of the Toco port. But that is not all, brothers and sisters. They were not satisfied with that. They went to Australia, the Prime Minister and his sidekick Minister of Everything, Stuart Young. And they wined them and they dined them in Australia. And then they took them to some shipyards. And the Prime Minister, as though he buying shoes or he buying bread, said, listen, I'm going to take 2 fast ferry vessels and I'm going to take 2 naval vessels for the Coast Guard. You ever see people buying boats, sir? No specifications, no consultation with the Coast Guard. $500 million US. Just so. Just like that. Take up our monies and say he's buying these boats. And that is not all. That is not all. They're still not satisfied. Recently, they went to Malta to hire another ferry. The Jean de la Valette. Those of you who are good in French, I don't know what that means. Another boat at the rate of $271,014 per day. So in the space of 2 years, brothers and sisters, here in Toco Sangre Grande, in the space of 2 years, 2017 to 2019, by my calculations, this government has leased or bought 6 boats and 1 barge. Brothers and sisters, I am told that the political leader has arrived, so I have to
Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready for the bright and the illustrious political leader of the United National Congress. Yay! Wave your flag, wave your flag, wave your flag. Put up your flag, put up your flag. This is music time. Wave your flag. Yeah.
Disappointment was my closest friend. But then you
put up your flags. Welcome the brightest and the best, the political leader of the United National Congress. Let's get ready for fire. Yeah. Wave your flags. This is the brightest moment in politics on the big night. Big night. Yep. The big night in politics, ladies and gentlemen. the political leader of the United National Congress. Yes? Wave up the flag.
It's that one in a million, girl. And now with my loving arms around you, honey, I can stand up and face the world.
Yes.
Let me tell you your love.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. Brightest future. And the lady of the moment. The brightest future and the lady of the moment. Toco Sangre Grande. Let's Yes, this is the political moment you've been waiting for. Toco Sangre Grande. Let's all welcome the political leader of the United National Congress, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, live in Toco Sangre Grande. Yes! The magic has arrived, and this is the politics of the woman. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the brightest moment in politics at the night for Toco Sangre Grande. And we welcome the political leader of the United National Congress, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel, and the next Prime Minister, Trinidad and Tobago, yeah? Woo. This is magic. Right here in Toco Sangre Grande. This is the Monday Night Forum in living color, yeah.
We welcome into Sangre Grande here tonight a lady who has demonstrated greatness in governance. And we wish her all the best. And I say to you tonight, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, that we shall be working very, very hard to ensure that you become, after the general elections of 2020, the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Before our next Prime Minister entered, I was talking about the corruption of this cabinet, having assumed unto themselves the functions of the Central Tenders Board. And as someone was telling me, it is as if the PNM Corruption Manual, authored by Johnny O'Halloran and Francis Pravat, and fine-tuned by successive PNM administrations, is being followed to the letter by this Rowley PNM cabinet. They corrupt to the core. And I want to say to you tonight, my brothers and sisters, as I close now, that they will want to lecture to us about corruption, morality in public affairs. as though they are holier than the Pope and Mother Teresa combined. I could have spoken to you about more tonight. The Sandals Project, Alwari Family Building, the Novo Technology contract. Time doesn't permit. We have to vote out these scams. You hear me, bro? We have to ensure that they do not get a second term. So whether you swear on the Bible, whether you swear on the Quran, whether you swear on the Bhagavad Gita, I say to you here tonight, put aside your ego, put aside your differences. Let us hold hands. Next local government election, next general elections, and vote the UNC back into government in Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you. Have a good night.
The faster I will run. The more you refuse to hear my voice, the louder I will sing. Then I'm a place and time. You squander wealth, that's mine. My light will
Live from the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nigel Tramposo.
Thank you, Chairman. Political leader, the Honorable Dr. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel, Dr. Bisesa, members of Parliament, senators, chairmen, councillors, constituents of Toco Sangre Grande, and other distinguished guests, members of the media, and the UNC family, I say good night. It is an absolute pleasure for me to be here tonight to address you. Tonight I feel privileged standing at my alma mater and in the hometown of the Tramposo family. So again, I say good night, Sangre Grande. To everyone in the audience, those watching on television, those listening on the radio, I want you to know that I am one of you. I was born homeless to a 15-year-old mother, and I grew up in a squatting area, and we had to tote water and bathe by the standpipe. I used the latrine, and I lived in a board house. I was fortunate, and I thank God for putting the right people in my life who guided me. It so happened that I was successful at my CXC exams, and the choices of work available to me back then was to get one of those jobs in the services. So I became a police officer. I took that job very seriously. So all the crime fighting techniques, I knew them and I employed them. As a police officer, I soon realized that I could only do so much for my people from that institution. So I decided to become an attorney at law. It was not as easy as I make it sound here. You see, it required blood, sweat, and tears. The road to success, young people, is long, it is hard, and it's a lonely one. People who are with you today will leave. They won't understand, but I urge you to persevere.
remain focused. I tell you, hard work rewards dividends. So don't let anyone tell you you can't. As I said, I was born on the streets to a single mother. I grew up in an environment where education was not seen as important. I remember while growing up, I was saying how much I valued education, and my friends laughed at me. They told me you can't take education to the bank or to the supermarket. Listen, all sorts of things will be thrown at you. I remember my dad losing his jobs when I was in secondary school right here and being mortified at the prospects of not finishing school. So even though times are hard, remember hope comes, and this time it comes riding in with the United National Congress. So now I'm an attorney, and sometimes I ply my trade right here at the Sangre Grande Magistrate Court. So I understand the problems in the court system right here in Sangre Grande. But to further help my people, I became heavily involved in politics. And I chose the UNC because of its mandate and because of its philosophy. I know that this is the party to take the country in the future. And our leader has a heart for the people. So when I say I am one of you, I am truly one of you. I can identify with the lowest straight through to the highest. And I understand crimes from all sides. And today, I want to say that we live in perilous times. I know of families in Sealots and George Street, Port of Spain, that are being chased out of their homes by gangs, and they have no one to stand up with them. For half of a century, the PNM government has been supported by these people, and the PNM government has turned their backs on them. How much more opportunities must they give this PNM government? Well, tonight, I say enough is enough. To my brothers and sisters in East Port of Spain, I invite you to become part of the United National Congress One Corridor movement. We welcome you with open arms. In the UNC, we love everybody. We are only against Rowley and his elitist group who have taken your votes and turned their backs on you. So Port of Spain East, I want you to show me your finger. Vote for your best interest. Vote for the UNC. Under the PNM, crime is up. All the PNM statistics trending in the wrong direction. Job creation down and crime is up. People are frustrated. People are fed up. People are desperate. And then on top of it, our young people are being profiled and targeted as pests. I know, I was a police officer. Look at what happened in Carenage 3 weeks ago. It could have happened to any one of us. A 14-year-old teenager, a promise never fulfilled, a grieving, confused mother who saw the video of the funeral of Naomi Nelson. The mother's heart was ripped out of her soul as she lowered that coffin into the grave. You see, collateral damage is always a byproduct of any war. And little Naomi Nelson was a byproduct of this senseless war. Time and time again I say, we don't fight crime. Crime is a problem. We solve problems. Therefore, we solve crime. So I guarantee you, if another approach was taken to treat against the crime problem that young teenager from Carenage and so many of our loved ones may very well still be with us here today. Naomi didn't have to be collateral damage, and our future prospect is lost. She could have been a police, she could have been a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer. We will never know. Why did she have to die? This war needs to stop. We need crime to be treated professionally. The government has to provide the police with the appropriate tools so they could serve the people more effectively. You see, under the PNM, the entire system has failed and needs renewed life. And if they want a war, this is what it is they should use in their war. Jobs, modern education systems, better social programs, proper health care, appropriate legislation, strong institutions, and a better judicial system. This is what our political leader used during the 2010-2015 regime, and that is why tonight I stand with Dr. Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Last week, it was reported that 8 young black men escaped from prison. The prison system is totally oppressive for the prisoners and the prison officers themselves. This thing, not easy. When someone is arrested in this country for a capital matter, 10 years of their life is already gone. So our sons, our daughters, our brothers, our sisters, aunts, mothers, uncles, and fathers, just in jail, waiting for a decision from the court. And for the other side, the side of the families of the victims, they themselves are not sure what is the outcome. In a society that is developing, we don't have enough magistrates. State prosecutors and the justice system is slow. I went to court for a 14-year-old, and just to get a decision, it has taken 6 months for this child to get a state prosecutor to actually come to court to even start the matter in this modern time. Sometimes I ask myself, does this government even care that so many of us are killed, whether it be by bandits, businessmen, police officers in the hospitals or on the nation roads? Do they even have a value on our lives? It feels as though the walls are crumbling on us together as a people. But we must rise. Trinidad and Tobago, rise. Arise, my people. Arise together. Let not creed, race, culture, or class divide us. We have to do this together. How many of us are barely clinging on to life? But don't die now. No, you can't die now. Dig deep and find that strength and go early to that polling booth on the morning of election and vote for the United National Congress. I urge you to vote for life, to vote for change, vote for a leader that has the heart of compassion, vote for the United National Congress. I thank you.
Live from the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lorne Diaz.
The Honorable Political Leader, Ms. Kamala Prasad-Bissessa, Dr. Bissessa, fellow presenters, members of Parliament, senators, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. A very good evening to you all. I would like to begin by extending my sincerest thanks and appreciation to Mrs. Bissessa for her warmth and generosity in allowing me the opportunity to address you this evening. My name is Lorne Diaz, a qualified professional who fell prey to the heartless, spiteful, oppressive, Rowley-led PNM regime. Today, what you see happening all across Trinidad and Tobago is demotivating. And the truth is, I am fed up. I am fed up of seeing institutions being destroyed. I am fed up of seeing families falling further and further behind as they struggle to survive in this period of massive discord. There is just a blatant disrespect and disdain, lack of care and concern for the working class, for poor people, and for our children. And I know, just like me, you must be looking on, just absolutely disgusted by this PNM approach to governance. How the PNM acts as politicians and how the PNM treats our citizens. We especially, our children, deserve to be inspired by our representative. Mrs. Bissessa, to me, signifies representation that is fearless, principled, caring, with a genuine desire to protect the rights of all law-abiding citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Mrs. Bissessa's concern for the youth, the poor, and the elderly cannot be matched. In just 5 years, she was able to increase the minimum wage from $9 to $15 per hour, build 83 new primary schools and 83 early childhood centers, give laptops to all secondary school children, create the Children's Life Fund to ensure that children living with life-threatening medical conditions can access funding and medical care, deliver the long-denied Scarborough General Hospital, and develop the 240-bed San Fernando Teaching Hospital, increase the senior pension from $1,950 in 2010 to $3,500 in 2014. She also removed VAT from over 7,000 food items. Just a few weeks ago, Mrs. Bissessa moved 63 amendments to the Civil Asset Recovery and Management and Unexplained Wealth Bill single-handedly in one day. That is true representation. But the PNM has been in government for 49 out of 59 years. 49 years in government. And what does Lavantil, Port of Spain, Diego Martin, San Fernando, Arima have to show for it? I believe if something doesn't serve you, get rid of it. It's time. It's time to get rid of the PNM. It's time to get them out. We deserve better. Our children deserve better. Our children deserve better. The decisions the PNM are making and the difficulties you and I are facing right now, I will continue to face tomorrow. They like to say PNM till we dead. Well, let me tell you, if they get another 5 years, we will really die. They like to say we're ready and ready. Ready and ready for what? Ready and ready to do what? And ready and ready for whom? Let me tell you, they're ready and ready to help rich people get richer. They're ready and ready to make us poor, hard-working, law-abiding citizens suffer and get poorer. They're ready and ready to take our jobs, our homes, our dignity. They're ready and ready to leave us behind while they live their best lives. Today, I say to you, especially the youth of Trinidad and Tobago, the voices, the issues facing our country demand attention. Our attention, our input, our ability to get involved, no, to change, no. This very moment in time is filled with greater opportunity than ever before. This is what makes us so important. I encourage all young people to take full advantage of this opportunity to create change. Talk to your friends, families, get involved. Keep your eyes, ears, and hearts open and speak out for what you think is right. I am here today to say that we cannot continue to play by the rules of this toxic environment created by the PNM. There have been countless citizens, every walk of life, who have peacefully stood in front of the Parliament begging for the PNM to please hear their cries for assistance. Answer this question. Has the PNM done anything? Nationwide hardship just continues to rise. Brothers and sisters, I'm not about to beg the PNM government to care for our future. The PNM has ignored us for 49 years, and the PNM will continue to ignore us. They have shown us who they are, and I believe them. So we will not ask the PNM for anything. Instead, I ask you to start treating this as a crisis. I ask you to realize that the PNM has failed us. I ask you to choose your family's future. I ask you that when the time comes, vote PNM out. Ladies and gentlemen, as I stand here before you today, I'm inspired and hopeful. My hope for our future is Ms. Bissessa, because you know why better is always possible. I am proud to reaffirm my support for Mrs. Bissessa and what she and her party represents. Mrs. Bissessa, I thank you for being the compassionate, fearless leader that you are, and I stand with you. Thank you.
All I require for life, God has given me, and I know who I am. We are a chosen generation. We've been called for to show His excellence. All I require for life, God has given me, for I know who I am. I know who God says I am. What he says I am, where he says I'm at.
Live from the constituency of Toco Sangre Grande, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alison Holder Clement.
I know who I am. I'm what he says I am, where he says I'm at. I know who I am. I'm who God says I am. I'm working miracles. I live a life of favor. For I know who I am.
To the Honorable Leader of the UNC, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Members of Parliament, Senators, good evening to the great people of Toco, Sangre Grande and environs. This evening I take this opportunity to give honor to God, our Heavenly Father, Creator of all things, and to the leader of the UNC family, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. And we can do better than that. Approximately 8 years ago, we made an assignation with destiny when we selected Mrs. Persad-Bissessar as our Prime Minister. And now the time has come for us to vindicate our pledge to allow the soul of our suppressed and distressed nation to resolve the decree and say enough is enough. The people of Toco Sangre Grande and the nation at large finds it difficult to continue to sit back and accept mediocrity, stagnancy, inefficiencies, inadequacy, impotence, just to name a few. To disguise their agenda of hate and spite, they create distractions based on falsehood and arrogance, which is found to be barren of any moral value. In the midst of ongoing economic gloom, where prices continue to increase, jobs continue to decrease, breadwinners are out of jobs and cannot provide for their families. All this while, some rest comfortably after consuming 5-course meals. When placed in a position to serve, it is not when you desire, but when your service is so required. And can we say today that under the current governance, today is that taking place? We can say under the leadership of Mrs. Persad-Bissessar, there were numerous improvements made to our constituency, Toco Sangre Grande. I'm just naming one because there are so much. My fellow constituencies and my fellow colleagues named the rest. So I'm naming one, and that's the Valencia Bypass Road, which eliminated the traffic which we had to endure for years. We had increased employment where everyone was able to benefit. The laborers, the men on the ground, the single mothers and fathers, the smallest of men were able to acquire some measure of income through several implemented programs by the government of Mrs. Persad-Bissessar. Today, can we say that it's the same under the present governance of the PNM led by Mr. Rowley? The song I was introduced with says, I know who I am. I'm walking in power. Do we understand power that we have, and with that power, the changes we can make as a people once stand united. In this relay of life, the onus is on us to forge ahead and see the light at the end of the tunnel. For our present situation does not determine the ultimate. The race is not for the swiftest, but those that endure to the end. We are coming to the end of our race, where we must pick up the pace, take the baton as a people, as a community, and as a family united. And as we do so, I encourage and urge you to know the power that rests in us to see it through the end in victory. Young people like myself, it is not too late. It is only the beginning. Chapter 1 of the book we are writing. I too had struggles, nothing to eat. I studied under the lights of Edward Street, the street light. That's called streets. We sold kurma, we sold pilori to get to and from school. I had my wilderness experiences and forged ahead with many other disappointments. Who knows what lies ahead? I can determine what does, and so can you. We are the chosen generation of tomorrow. I'm asking questions. Will you allow us to take your hands through the journey of life and that of your children? Will you take advantage of the opportunities which will be made possible by the governance led by Mrs. Prasad Bisesa for yourself and for your children? The question continues. Will you remain in a state of poverty and continue to worry about the next meal? Will you create avenues? Build that life where you are able to support your parents when they can no longer go on. Ensure your children graduate from university. They have done their part, and it is the decision that we make today that will determine our tomorrow. We fall 7 times, we get back up 8. To the parents and to the elderlies who build that foundation for us to build and tread upon. Nothing lasts forever. And in all doings, errors are made. But contingency plans are formed. They must be formed. And today, the opportunity presents itself to you, the elderlies and parents, to understand the time at hand and the season in which we are now. To allow the fair opportunity to your children and the generation to come to be afforded the opportunities that were not available to you, and put that contingency plan into effect. Whilst there may be the appearance of tumor in the body, it is not malignant but benign. We have found that machinery to reveal and remove all tumor cells, not with chemotherapy to affect good ones in the process, but to remove without destroying others. When given the opportunity to serve again, the UNC family, led by Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, we have in place extensive programs to rehabilitate the minds and psyche of the broken and faint-hearted, geared to rebuild the morals and help to rebuild society whose spirit has been tested by the current circumstances. Many are called, but few are chosen. But today, ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, we are the chosen generation of tomorrow, called for to show His excellence. All we require in life, God has given us. We know who we are. We know what we have and the power we have, and invested in us to make a difference. People of Toco Sangre Grande and environs, this evening is an evening of reflection and decision making that will make the difference for the community and impact the country. Be the change we want to see. Be what we are called and created to be. Be winners, be victors. As we usher into the new chapter of the incomplete book called Journey, let us unite and make our beloved community and country the place where we all live together in harmony, where we step out from the old into the new. And in these challenging and trying times, we take the pledge of dedication to the service of Trinidad and Tobago. Like Maya Angelou, we will rise. Like Martin Luther King, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And with victory, we will say, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. Like the prophet Timothy, we will say, we have fought the good fight. We have finished the race, and we have kept the faith. Like King Solomon, a horse is prepared for the day of battle, but victory belongs to the Lord. And with these few words, I will conclude and say to the people of Toco, Sangre Grande, and environs, God bless you, and I assure you tonight that weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of Toco Sangre Grande, and to the mass media. This evening, I am elated to have been granted the privilege of introducing a person who is special to everyone gathered in this here platform. A woman who, by her many accomplishments, have paved the way for thousands of young people in this country. This individual is a very devoted, compassionate, selfless, empathetic, nurturing, loving, well-achieved history maker, a strong and fierce leader that only desires the best for her country and its people, without biases towards creed, color, or race. She's the only leader we can say ever had the people of the nation at the front burner on her agenda and at heart. The only leader who has acted without forsaking, but always thinking about the future of Trinidad and Tobago. This individual went into office as Trinidad and Tobago's 7th and first ever female Prime Minister. Not once has she lost compassion for humanity, still seeking the best interests of her country and its people. Battered but never surrendered, willing to regain her rightful position as the political leader and future leader of the government. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as I now formally introduce to you Senior Counsel, Leader of the Opposition, our political leader, and soon destined to be Trinidad and Tobago's 2020 second female Prime Minister, the Honorable Kamala Prasad-Bisesa.
Bring down the bomb, love, I say. Your love lifted me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know your love
You know, in the meetings I say, bring down the power. Let's thank our last speaker. That was real power and energy. Give her a round of applause.
Bring down the power, love, I say. Bring down the power. The power, love, I say.
So good evening, UNC family. Good evening to all of you. MPs, senators, executives. A special welcome tonight to former Mayor of Arima, Mr. Youssef. Please give him a round of applause. The powerful team who is with us on the platform tonight, I thank them. I heard all the speeches, fully energized, coming up and here. So I want to thank you all here. Toco Sangre Grande. Anybody from Toco Sangre Grande here this evening? You know, our meetings, each meeting that I come to, each meeting is bigger than the last one I went to. And I see the massive crowds here tonight. It's a good sign. I thank you all for coming out. And this constituency is well known for great things coming out of Toco Sangre Grande. Remember Kishore Walcott? Out of Toco Sangre Grande, yes? But there's another man who is making waves internationally. His name is Sham Mahabir. He was born in Grande. He owns and operates a restaurant in East London. It's called Lyman, and it's local foods that he does there. He has been making waves in London. And I think on the 30th of May, he's going to have an international doubles day in London, taking our street food, popular food, out there in London. So, trainees are everywhere and doing well. You know, just last week, we listened to the Minister of Finance in the midterm budget review. Some people are calling it the Minister of Finance, and not the Minister of Finance, but I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be so unkind to him. You know, they came to us, brought this midterm review to tell us everything is well, all is well. They are living in a fantasy world. Because I will ask you some questions, and which I asked in the Parliament as well. I'll ask you and you can answer me. Do you feel safer today than you did 4 years ago? Do you feel secure in your job? Well, some don't even have a job, huh? Has the economy improved? Do you feel confident enough to open a business? Are you getting better health care? Are your children getting a better education? Have they fixed or maintained your roads? Have they dealt with drainage? Are you getting basic utilities and most important, water? Are you getting water? Above all, in the fourth year of this Rowley government, has your quality of life improved? I listened to the young speakers as I was coming, and I listened to these when I was here. And what you get is a sense of hopelessness that is pervading our country now. The sense of fear. And that there is, what do you look forward to? 3 young engineers, brilliant young women. It pained me when I was coming, listening to them, that they can't get a job. It pained me. You go to school, children, go to school and learn well. Isn't that what we were told? Go to school and learn well. And here we have our young, brilliant people cannot get a job. Then we have more brilliant people here. I know, Lorne, you have told us your story. Lorne too. Qualified, hardworking. What did they do to him? Take away his job. Take away his job. Every speaker here tonight spoke of the suffering that is taking place in our country. And they go to the Parliament, and outside the Parliament, what do they say? Don't worry, turn around, everything is fine, not to worry. And they will not bring one plan, one program, one policy to tell you how they will create jobs. Not one. Because that, to me, apart from the spiraling crime, to me the greatest downfall of any person is not to have a job. Can you imagine a father who has to go home in the evening, face his family, his wife and his children, and he doesn't have a pay packet? He doesn't know where the next plate of food is coming from to feed his family. There are thousands of families like that here in Trinidad, but they don't care. Everything is fine. Turn around. Imber told us he could see clearly the rain is gone. Uptick, the economy is booming. They are living in a lala fantasy land. They do not go to the ground. But all they care about is friends. I tell you the 4 F's. Friends, family, financiers. And number 4 is who? Faris. But tonight I want to add another one. It's the 4 F's and the Y. And the Y is the young man. The minister of everything and the minister of nothing. I want to add him to the list. So they have no plans. They have no plans. Tonight I will share with you, on the last day I had, is there a book, please? My book. Even the book with the transformation plan. It might be in the car. I want to share with you some of the plans we have for the transformation of our economy, because what I am about trying to get the quality of life of everyone improved. How do we do that? We lift the economy. We transform the economy. We create jobs. That is what I am about. We are about to let us get TNT working again. Are you ready to join us in that journey? Let us get TNT working again. And so, this is their 4th year in office. Not a plan. They are a government of announcements. Announcements. I heard Joe Tony tell us tonight. They buy a boat before they build the port. And when they buy the boat, they told us the boat was for the port from Toco to ferry people across the Tobago back and forth. But what you do? Wrong side, upside down, reverse gear. They buy the boat. Now they come in to tell you they're building port in Toco. I want to tell you tonight, if any port is to be built in Toco, it will be under the watch of a UNC government. Because many years ago, it was a UNC government that came with the plan for the port, and this same man, this man who now calls himself Prime Minister, he was the one who came to Parliament and shut down the project for the Toco port. So don't come now to talk about Toco port. Nothing, as Joe told you. Those of you living here, you know nothing going on. And your 4th year in office, trust me, they have built nothing. They have constructed nothing. They have done nothing. You think in the last election you're getting a port? Don't let them fool you and mamagai you. Thank you. Don't take that bribe here and mamagai. Don't take the chain up. You know, elections coming? It's pure chain up. Government of announcements. That's all they're about. And so, what they tell you to do, what is their plan? They say, listen, you know what you have to do? Energy is so important. So they tell you, pray for oil. Their water policy is what? Pray for rain. Their crime plan is pray that the criminals will get a conscience and start to behave good. Look, I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of prayer. But what this country needs now, in addition to divine intervention, is for them to call an election now. Call an election now. Call it now. And so join. I believe in prayer. So let's pray together And let us pray for this Rowley government to go and to go now. And you know, Mr. Rowley, be careful what you ask for, because you might very well get it. I want you to look at this video, please, if we can put it on track. Just take a few minutes and I will sit. Watch the video.
When you hear Mrs. Prasad Bisesa say that they built 100 schools while they were in office, I heard of that nonsense last week again. They built 100 schools. I want to ask the media to ask Mrs. Prasad Bisesa to give you, the media, a list of the 100 schools that they built when they were in government.
Something that he spoke about on the political platform approximately a week and a half ago. And that is that he wanted us from the opposition to give him the list of schools that we have constructed during our period 2010 to 2015. But it is incumbent for me, as the former Minister of Education, to give the names of the schools, because the Honorable Prime Minister has asked for the lists of the schools. Under the management of Mrs. Bisesa as Prime Minister, the Ministry of Education constructed and completed 69 early childhood education centers, 31 primary schools, 6 secondary schools. In addition, additional blocks were built at another secondary school. And for answering the Prime Minister's question, the 31 primary schools completed, and it will include those schools that were opened in 3 of the sitting ministers now in government, including the Prime Minister. The Rosilac Presbyterian Primary School, Riversdale Presbyterian, Tunapuna Government Primary, Balmain Presbyterian, Pinal Rock Road SDMS, Mount Pleasant GPS Soledad Road North Claxton Bay, Palo Seco Government Primary School, Lengua Presbyterian Primary School, Arima New Government Primary School, Tulsa Trace SDMS, Barrackmore Asja Rees Road Barrackmore, St. Barbara Spiritual Shouter Baptist, Echo Village Anglican Primary School, Monkey Tongue Government Primary School, Febo Village Government Primary, Enterprise Government Primary, Union Presbyterian in Hermitage Road, Manzanilla Nareva Government Primary, Lower Komoto Government Primary, Kanhai Presbyterian, Charlieville Presbyterian, Egypt Village Government Primary, and the Minister of Public Administration would remember when we opened her school together at Rosedale RC at 6 Lacour Street, Laventille Road, East Dry River. Rio Claro Presbyterian, Grand Street, and the Minister of Finance now will also remember when we went up to Paramin and we opened the Paramin RC school in his presence. And we have photographs to demonstrate that. And also the Honorable Prime Minister would remember when our Prime Minister at that time gave him a yellow buttercup when we were opening the Point Kumana RC Belleran Street in Point Kumana. 26. And New Grant Government Primary, Capdeville Government Primary, Pinal Queenam Government Primary, Monroe Road Hindu SDMS, and Durham Village SDMS. Mr. Deputy Speaker, these are the 31 primary schools that we constructed during 2010. The 6 secondary schools completed were the Marabella South, Gopal Lands, Marabella, Aranguez North, Boundary Road, San Juan, Couva West Secondary at Balizier Street in Couva, Princestown East, Matilda Junction, St. Julian Village, Princestown, with the member for Princestown, 5 Rivers Secondary School, which is now ravaged, St. Augustine Secondary. An additional block was completed in Diego Martin North, St. Lucian Road, Diego Martin, with 17 additional classrooms. The Haji construction was paid $60 million by that last administration, and they left the country without doing anything to these early childhood education centers. So we had to inherit many of these contractors who they were supposed to be paying were never paid. So we set about to construct those 24 early childhood education, and amongst them, so out of the 69 early childhood care and education centers we constructed, Arangwes Johnny King Road, Arima New, Aruka Pine Haven, Bamboo in Jaffa Street, Bamboo, Ben Lomond, Bonaire at corner of Olivine Avenue and Blue Mussel Street, Brothers, number 73 Garth Road, Williamsville. These are the early childhood education centers. Bon Nintendo, Hillside Gardens, Carlson Field, Tasker Road, Cashew Gardens, Caroni SDMS, Cora Royal Road, Lagoya Road, Cora, Clark Rochard Road, Clark Rochard and Rochard Road, Corinth Hills, HDC site, Kunjal, number 214 Kunjal Main Road, Kush, the corner of Kunapo, Southern Main Road, the Kush Village, Edinburgh South, HDC site, Egypt Oasis, in Das Trace in Kunopia, Egypt Trace in Endeavour Road, El Dorado ECC, Enterprise in Cedar Road, Faizabad, number 22 Road, Gasparillo ECC, Golconda, Harmony Hall, number 24, Jacob Hill 25, La Horquetta, South Gladia Street, La Horquetta, La Rufin, Lisa Gardens, Lower Komoto, Madras, Malabar, Pomegranate Avenue, Malabar in corner Lennox Yearwood Expressway, Holly Bitodio, 7 Flamingo, Maloney in Jacana Avenue, Maloney Gardens, Maloney in Flamingo Boulevard, Maloney, Marabella, Light Pole 51, that's number 35, Maracas ECC 36, Mirage Hill 37, Maraval, Montcoco Road, I pass there and I see it all the time, Mendez, Pinal Queenham Road, Milton, corner Temple Street and Judingham Drive, Morva, Mount Hope, Pioneer Drive and Sunshine Avenue, Monroe Road, SDMS, Warren Road, Kunupia, Orupun Gardens, number 44, Palmis 45, Phoenix Park Road in California, Pleasantville, Prince Albert Street, Pleasantville, Quarry Village, La Brea Trace, Ragunanan Road Enterprise, number 49, Rancho Comado, number 6, South Trace, Rancho Comado 50, Ravine Sab, Londonville, that's in my constituency, Reform Government, ECC Reform, Retrench HDC site, Roystonia in Salaka Drive, Salazar Trace in Salazar, Point Forte, Sonny Ladu, ECC, Southern Gardens, Springvale, ECC in Springvale, St. Ambrose, Anglican, Jackman Trace, Kunupia, St. Anne's, number 8, St. Anne's Gardens, St. Anne's, number 61, St. Augustine, corner Warren and St. John's Road, 62, St. Barbara Spiritual Shelter Baptist, members will remember that, 63, St. Columba Anglican, 64, St. Mary's Village, 65, Union Hall, 66, Valencia in Armadillo Drive, New Valencia Gardens, Valencia, Wallerfield, corner of Churchill Roosevelt Highway and Amazon Drive, Wallerfield, Warrenville TIA, Robert Trace, that's number 68, and number 69, Wellington Road, HDC site, Wellington Road, Davie. So, Mr. Deputy Speaker, in answer to the Prime Minister's question, we have in Parliament today given the list of the 69 early childhood education centers which we constructed and completed, the 31 primary schools which we started and completed, 6 secondary schools which were completed by us, and an additional block. Mr. Speaker, these are the 169 ECC centers, 21 primary schools, 6 secondary schools completed under the Kamala Prasad Bisesa administration.
Thank you for your patience. You asked for it, better take it. I think someone else might put it a different way, but just take it. That was in 5 years. This is their 4th year. They have not built one school. Not a single school have they built. So when they come with the announcements, they're not going to get it done. As I said, it's a chain up with elections coming. So they announced recently they're going to build 6,000 houses in fiscal 2020. My good God. In 4 years, you didn't build one house. You're now promising you go and build 6,000 houses. I don't believe a word that you say. Election chain up. So, in the months coming up, more announcements will come. They will come just announce we are going to do this, we are going to do that. But if they could not have done it in 4 years, you think you're getting it done in 1 year? Can't get it done. Can't get it done. But you see what we did when we were in government with your help, what we did projects that you could see, you could actually see it. You could touch it. They have spent $200 billion, and there is not one project that you can see or touch or feel to show for $200 billion. And then when the Prime Minister stands on a platform and he talks about $1.4 billion, how much medicine you could get for that, how much schools you could build, knowing that they give nobody medicine and giving nobody no building no schools, he stands there raising like a red flag. Well, I want to raise a big red flag tonight. A big red flag, and we cover it with yellow when we are done. And I bring this to your attention. Today, the Privy Council delivered a very important judgment with respect to a claim arose in Trinidad and Tobago by one Ravi Balgagan Maraj against Petrotrin. Petrotrin. They want to say Petrotrin shut down and Petrotrin don't have money. Do you remember how that started? Where that came from? When we were in government, we authorized probes into suspicious corrupt transactions under the PNM. One of those had to do what is known as a gas to liquids project. World GTL, it's called. Gas to liquids. Monies that were borrowed under a man named Malcolm Jones. You remember that name? Money borrowed under Malcolm Jones. He was in charge of the Petrotrin. Dealt this country a disastrous blow. And that is what we are still paying for today. We haven't even paid for it yet. But that has been one of the major reasons for the downfall of Petrotrin. Okay? And the closure of Petrotrin. Heard the young ones there saying they want to work Petrotrin. Well, listen, come election day, take your voting finger and vote for the UNC. Tell the Prime Minister, call election. Do not sell Petrotrin. Keep it open, call the election, and we will find a way to keep that refinery going. You will remember that this government did two major things in relation to Petrotrin when they came into office. The first thing they did was to take that same Malcolm Jones and put him in a cabinet subcommittee known as a Committee on Energy. The same Malcolm Jones, I'll say more about him in a minute. Same Malcolm Jones, who was chairman of Petrotrin at the time when Petrotrin incurred massive cost overruns and project failures. These were the same World GTL project, another project known as gas optimization, and a third project known as ultra low sulfur diesel project, USLD project. These three projects. Up to today, of course, none of those projects is off the ground. Because what happened? The same Malcolm Jones was responsible for the 1.6 US billion international bonds that are still due today. You know how much is that? $1.6 billion. 11 billion TT dollars, man. These three projects sunk. None got off the ground. None. $11 billion of your taxpayers' money. And you know what Malcolm Jones did? He signed up to guarantee for Petrotrin to guarantee to pay back this loan now. So all these projects bust, if you want to put it in layman language. They bust. But Petrotrin through the hand of Malcolm Jones and his board, signed a guarantee. That is why we are owing all that money up to today. They will become due in August. That's a bullet payment they keep saying they have to make. And that was like a bullet into the heart of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, those projects, and Malcolm Jones. So look what happened. The same Malcolm Jones took out more than $3 billion in this failed gas-to-liquid plant. And they took Malcolm Jones, when they got into office, first thing, they put him to chair the energy, to sit on the energy subcommittee of the cabinet. There's a common way of putting it, is they put in the cat to watch the butter. When you know the cat likes the butter. you're putting the thief to watch the money. I'm not saying he was a thief, but it's like you're putting the man who was responsible for $11 billion of debt in the same energy committee now to run the energy affairs. The second thing they did, after they put Mr. Jones there, and may his soul rest in peace, by the way, he's now passed on. Same Malcolm Jones, second thing they did is they withdrew the case Petrotrin had filed against Malcolm Jones and the board. Not even 1 month had passed. I said we did the probes, we saw this money was drained out, and so we sued Petrotrin, sued Malcolm Jones and the board responsible for this $11 billion and $3 billion for WGTL. Sued them. Rowley and his crew and his AG Faris gets into government, and Faris strikes again. Strikes again. What did he do? He withdrew the claim against Malcolm Jones. When? You remember when was the election? September 2015. Within 1 month, in October 2015. That was one of the first things they did to withdraw the case against their friend. They withdrew the case. Case collapsed. And the reason they drew the case now gets very interesting, There are a lot of questions. The advice to shut down the Malcolm Jones case, you know who was the lawyer who gave the advice? A name that is all over the country right now. A fellow named Vincent Nelson QC. The plot thickens, What a tangled web we weave when we set out to deceive. But one thing we know is the truth will always come forth. Truth will come in the light. So they went pronto, fast, pulled the case out. They even had to pay Malcolm Jones money now when they withdrew the case. And so Mr. Nelson QC gave the advice to withdraw the case. This is the same Vincent Nelson who, before that, had advised the government, Petrotrin, to sue Malcolm Jones. So the same lawyer who says sue Malcolm Jones, government changed, what happened? He turned around and backtrack, backpedal, and say, withdraw the case. Change his tune. Changed his tune, the same lawyer changed his tune. When that case was filed against Malcolm Jones, we had another very distinguished lawyer who gave the advice. So Nelson gave the advice, good case, go ahead. But another very distinguished lawyer, Mr. Russell Martineau, also advised. So we had two seniors advising. But when government changed, Mr. Nelson backtracked. So Vincent Nelson, in 1 month after the new AG was sworn in, hey, by the way, these fellas so back to front, you know that AG was sworn in twice? Try and remember, from day one, when this government came in, they were back to front. You had to swear in the Prime Minister first. They swore the AG in first. Try and remember. And when they realized, oh my God, imagine the AG should have known that is not the protocol or the law. So they pull him back, and they send Mr. Rowley, he swear Rowley, and they say, Faris, come. Do it a second time. Well, that will be the last time. We must make sure it's the last time that they ever swear. The last time. Yeah. And do you know now, the plot thickens, this thing could make a good Hollywood movie. or Bollywood, or Nollywood. We could make a very good movie. You know who was the lawyer for Mr. Malcolm Jones? You could take a guess. When Petrotrin sued Malcolm Jones, do you know who was the lawyer? It was none other than the Minister of Everything and the Master of Nothing, Stuart Young. Stuart Young. You see how they plot the web that was woven. And so it goes. And Wilson Nelson now, government change, says he based his advice on witness statements made by Petrotrin executives during a thing called the World GTL arbitration. These are statements the government didn't want you to see. So Nelson wrote one paragraph and said, no good case again, go ahead with it. And he said he did it on the basis of 2 witness statements. So Mr. Maraj applied to get a copy of these witness statements because we want to see what was so bad inside of those statements that a whole $1 billion case was withdrawn. The government refused to give it, Petrotrin refused to give it. They fought the case all the way, went to the Privy Council, and that's where we are today, the Privy Council judgment about getting these documents, and this is what the Privy Council had to say. So far as concerns possible benefits for the public interest of disclosure of the Batiste and Chantak statements, the board considers, and the board being the Privy Council board, considers that it is arguable that they are of significant weight with a view to securing transparency and accountability in relation to relevant decisions in a number of respects. The court said further that these statements, the disclosure of these statements, would enable the public to be fully informed about those matters and Mr. Jones's involvement in them, so that they could, if appropriate, criticize or oppose the appointment of Mr. Jones to roles within the government. They said further, disclosure of the documents will enable the public to understand and, if appropriate, criticize decisions to bring the civil claim against Mr. Jones. And they said further, there are grounds for thinking that the decision to abandon the case against Mr. Jones may have been influenced by political factors. This is not Kamala. This is a Privy Council in London. There are grounds for thinking that the decision to abandon the claim against Jones may have been influenced by political factors. The council said further, they noted that the government through a minister had predicted the case would be dropped before. Minister said, case going to drop when? Before Winston Nelson gave the advice in October. This is what the Privy Council said. This is in view of comments made by a government minister on the 8th and 9th October 2015 in advance of receipt of the written advice of 11 October 2015 from Mr. Nelson QC, indicating that the claim against Jones was likely to be abandoned. So this minister was a seer man. Before they even got the advice to abandon the case, minister out there saying, case going to be abandoned. And so, the Privy Council took issue with the quality of advice given by Nelson, and they said that there is the appearance of involvement of the Attorney General in this matter. The Attorney General announced that the board of Petrotrin had decided to withdraw the case in February 2016. And then he said it the same day, the advice from October, in February 2016. And in March 1, he told country. So there was great media interest and publication. Why did you withdraw the case against Malcolm Jones? Why? Why did you do it? And the questions were whether the AG had been involved in taking out one of their friends from the case in the court. And the Privy Council finally ruled in favor of Mr. Rafi Baragobin Maraj, and they have upheld his application to get the documents. So, but he still has to come back to the court down here, so the story unfolds and continues. We will know what are in those statements, whether they were sufficient to withdraw the case against Malcolm Jones, or was it just a case of friend helping friend, PNM. You know, the PNM says they always take care of their own, eh? They only take care of their own when there's the big boys up there. But they're not taking care of their own right here in Toco Sangre Grande or in any part of Trinidad and Tobago. So we shall see how that carries on. I know time is against us, but I did promise you I will talk a little about plans we have for Toco Sangre Grande in particular and in general. I had planned, this is the economic transformation plan. We have said that we will want to create 50,000 jobs. I have made the point before, we did it once, we have the track record, we can do it again, and these are the plans that we have. For Toco Sangre Grande, several projects that we have in mind, which would include encouraging investment in resort, ecotourism and cultural tourism. We work to revitalize the food production sector, the agricultural sector. We will implement strict regulation and monitoring of the quarry industry. We will improve on social and physical infrastructure to serve the needs of additional housing in the area. Some of this will be done by the HDC and some in public-private partnerships. We will improve the functional efficiency of the Sangre Grande Town Centre. We will engage in medium-intensity industrial development in the Guayco Sangre Grande area to bring jobs and income to the region. This means that the region will be developed with a community core with a range of services to make the community as self-sufficient as possible. Some services that will support in your area here, Guayco Sangre Grande area, will be banking services, professional offices, retail trades, restaurants, entertainment, market development, and of course, government services. Buildings in the community core, the law will be changed to allow you to go high up, those who want to build and have a small piece of land, high up. And there are several other plans which we'll drill down with your team here, your coordinator, Joseph Tony, and his team. And we trust that we can get Toco Sangre Grande working again, as we will all of Trinidad and Tobago. So these are just some very few plans. There were others I wanted to share, but I see the time. We had a lot of brilliant speakers on tonight, so time did go very fast. So as I close, I want to remind you that we can make a change, we can make a difference. You in Toco Sangre Grande can make a difference to the quality of your life and the life of your children. But the only way you can do it, as one of the speakers told us, you have to make sure you're registered to vote. Because if you don't have a ticket, you have no chance. I saw somebody won the $14 million lottery. Whoever was that person, I forgot to even buy a ticket. So I congratulate them. You must have a ticket to get a chance. So make sure you're registered to vote. The young ones especially, impress on them, go out, register to vote. That's the only way that you can make a difference. I want to thank you for all your support here. I want to give you the assurance, I say it every night, that I will work for you, continue to fight for you until the last breath is gone from my body. I tell you I love you very much. I tell you that half of me belongs to you, the other half I give to you, so all of me belongs to you. And I say, you have had other leaders before me. You will have leaders after me. But guess what? You will never ever have a leader who loves you as much as I do. Thank you, and show me your voting finger. Show me your voting finger. Show me your voting finger.
Show me your voting finger. Vote for UNC, kick MNF out of power. Show me your voting finger. You're rolling with anti-Kamla. Show me your voting finger. Yes, vote for the UNC, my lord. Vote for the UNC. If you love your family, vote for the UNC. Go fix back the economy. Vote for the UNC. If you love your country, since Rowley in power, the crime rate get higher. Gas turned to water, now we facing the fire. People balling, people suffering. All over the country, people not working. If you want things get better for your son and your daughter, boy, anti-Kamla is the answer. Your Cynthia and tea for you and your family. Everybody go be irie when you vote for the UNC. Oh, vote for the UNC. If you love your family, vote for the UNC. You build back the economy, vote for the UNC. If you love up your country, let me see you. Show me your voting finger. Vote for UNC. It be a them.
Bring down the power of love, I say. Bring down the power. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Bring down the power. Love to heal a nation is the greatest power. A wind of destruction is blowing over this land. And now the earth is trembling with man's oppression of man. Now the time come to sit down and rediscover what's life. Show the world the true meaning of real love, power, not strife. Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Love to heal a nation. Put our hands on the fire and cleanse the wicked. Right now, all of them who does worship, greed and vanity must bow. Unity is the banner, so come together. I say, and this love is for freedom, it's growing stronger each day. Bring down the power of love, I say. The power of love, I say, is the greatest power. Stop hell and damnation. Love to heal a nation.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. I am Shuri Sissoon. We have just come to the end of our Monday night forum. We have heard from our political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisasa. Our political leader has called for an election. Our political leader has been able to tell us the 100 schools that they have built under the People's Partnership Government. 31 primary schools were constructed, 6 secondary and 69 early childhood centers. In total, 106 schools were constructed. We have a leader. We have a leader that cares about us. We have also heard from the leader the ill motives of the People's National Movement. We have also heard the corruption. We will be bringing that back to you just now. We have come to the end of our Monday night forum. We are here in Sangre Grande. Our political leader has called for an election. The People's National Movement has challenged the political leader to tell them the schools that they have built, that we have built, the political leader was able to show us the 31 primary schools that were constructed, the 6 secondary schools that were constructed, as well as the 69 early childhood centers that were constructed. In total, 106 schools were constructed in the past 5 years. In this 4 years that the People National Movement has been in power, they have not constructed one single school. We have also heard from the political leader the ill motives and corruption under the PNM regime. Our political leader has also revealed to us her plans for the Toco Sangre Grande constituency. She has revealed that she plans on expanding the investment in the Toco Sangre Grande area, as well as infrastructure, both social development and agricultural development. Here I have with me Sharda Satram. Hi, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Hi, my name is Sharda Satram and I am from Cuba.
Okay, can you tell me how you felt about this Monday night forum?
Well, tonight, after hearing the cries of the youth, I felt very despondent, right, about the endeavors because they're trying to help themselves.
My God. Okay.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, tell us how you feel about the leader's plan. Tell us how you feel about the leader's plan.
The leader's plan, right? I am very confident in the leader's proposed plans and policies for this country, right? I believe that she can take this country forward because she has proven track records from between 2010 and 2015.
Okay, thank you very much. That was Shara Satram from the constituency of Cuba. Hi.
Hi, my name is Devika Subu. I am from the Sangre Grande area, and after seeing this magnificent crowd here tonight, I am confident that Toco Sangre Grande is going to win UNC and bring it home in the next election coming up. And local government will take it on.
Okay, so we have with us now Councillor for the Electoral District of Vega de Oropuch, Councillor Arnold Jutiram.
Hi, good night.
Good night, Mr. Jutiram. Tell us what's happening in the Vega de Oropuch area.
Well, Vega de Oropuch is buzzed with activities such as farming and so on. Farmers are very busy planting, and we are at the moment trying to do whatever we have funding for in terms of infrastructure and improvements. We also have the Eastern Division Police revamping a lot of these situations, such as preventing crime and also dealing with the illegal quarrying aspect that has been plaguing our area.
Okay, and what are your thoughts about tonight's Monday night forum and the political leaders' plan for Toco Sangre Grande?
Well, definitely I endorse what the political leaders said tonight. It's a broad-based scenario, and everything is reality in terms of manifestation. We have the byproducts, it's just to tap it into it and let it manifest.
Okay, here you have it. You have heard from the man himself, Councillor Arnold Jutiram, Councillor for the Vega de Oropuch area. And now we have Ms. Alison Holder. She spoke on the platform tonight. Tell us, what message will you like the audience to take away from your speech tonight?
I would say that there's hope.
There's hope.
There's hope. It has not ended, and there's hope. And in life, there's hope.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on the political leaders' plans for Toco Sangre Grande?
I believe that she would have been the first person to actually pay that particular attention to the Toco Sangre Grande district and community, and in that we as a community will be grateful for any development, as so far we have not seen anything, and having a plan on the whole is what we need in Toco Sangre Grande, and we believe that in doing so with the leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bisasa, is the best opportunity that we can have as a community.
Okay, there we have it, Mrs. Alison Holder Clement. Thank you so much. We have come to the end of our Monday night forum. We would like you guys to join us next week, May 27th, in Dago Martin for the constituency of Dago Martin's Monday night forum. You have heard it, the people feel hopeless, they feel depressed, the country is in a state of depression, and the only hope we have is
with our political leader, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. So I urge everyone on election day, vote for Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the United National Congress. Thank you and good night.